Welcome to Maximize Mission Success. My name is Steve Reed. I'm with Stephen Reed Ministries and Stephen Reed Coaching, and I am excited that you are here with us today on one of the early episodes of this new podcast. I've been doing podcasting now for about almost 3 years, but this is a new podcast that I'm doing. It's all about you. It's all about helping you become the best version of you and how you can perform better, have better insights, better mindset, all of those sorts of things. Most of the time, we're going to be just Steve doing a podcast. But from time to time, I'm going to have some special guests that I'm going to be interviewing. And today is one of those days. I am thrilled to pieces to introduce you to my friend, Tonni Lea Larson. Tonni Lea, it is exciting to have you here in this early process of this new podcast. How in the world are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you, Steve, for the invitation, and congratulations on doing your podcast again.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You know, we all have things that make us who we are. And most of the time it's things from our past, but sometimes it's things that are going on currently. And I understand that you've got some things that you want to share because you've got a conference coming up soon. But before we go there, tell me what your ministry is about. Tell me a little bit about you.
Well, Tonni Lea Ministries started because of my past, the journey that I took through life, and became a survivor. And now I am thriving. And so God just opened up many, many doors. And one of those is speaking. The other is writing. The other one is hosting healing conferences. Then he also has encouraged me with empowering other women through coaching. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes along with it. But it is because of the journey that I took. So, yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the journey. But while you're at it, you've got some passions and some things that you just love about what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about that.
The journey was started about 4 years ago after I had finished going through the 12-step process from being married to a sex addict, intimacy anorexic narcissist who kept having the affair on me, and it had caused the first divorce. Then I thought everything had changed, so we remarried within 3 months just to find out that he was still having the affair with this person. And I said, I'm done. And so I told him that I wanted a divorce, and that was the hardest thing to ever do, but it was the best thing in my life because God said, get off of the circus wheel. And I did. And so that's how everything just kind of started. And it started off going to San Antonio to do a speak at a breast conference awareness. And I'm a survivor, 7 years this month. And so that's how it kind of started. And then books coming after that and different little things. But my passion is to help heal broken women because of what I went through. Women that have been betrayed, traumatized, abused, neglected, abandoned, rejected, all of those things that you just go through that just devastate you. And I'm living proof that you can go on the other side and that you can live again with freedom. And I have never been so happy or content in my life. So
that is wonderful. You know, in all of the coaching that I've been doing for the past 30 years, there are always those sticking points that people have in the life events. And I used to ask the question, why? And about 20, maybe 25 years ago, God shifted my mindset and said, I want you to stop asking why, and I want you to start asking the questions. First question is, what am I supposed to learn from this?
Right.
And the second question is that he really impressed upon me about 10 years ago. The second question is, God, who am I supposed to teach these lessons to? And it sounds like that is exactly what your journey has been all about as well. who are you supposed to teach your lessons to, and how can you be an encouragement to other people in the process of this crazy thing called life? So, Tonni Lee, you mentioned several words that are key words that are really the foundation of much of my ministry as well. And that is rejection and abandonment and abuse, those kinds of things. And I frequently, when I'm talking with clients, I ask them, tell me about a time that you felt abused. You felt like you were a victim. Tell me about when you were rejected or abandoned, those kinds of things. I've got a ton of stories, as I'm sure you do as well, of other people that have also gone through those traumatic times. So tell me about your ministry and how you help. And I understand it's primarily women. I work with both men and women.
Right.
Thankfully, because of this wonderful thing called the internet, I can work
Absolutely,
with
right?
people no matter where they are in the country or actually outside of the country. But tell me, you said something about a 12-step program. Tell me a
Mhm.
little bit about your ministry and how you hope or give hope and encouragement to others.
Well, in the 12th step, the 12th step itself is the one that you carry the message forward. And so if you're going to follow through with on the 12 steps, you've got to follow the 12th step and you've got to carry the message forward. And
Yeah.
that all started, from Bill Wilson with the AA. And so you can take those 12 steps and you can work them into any type of addiction as for the person that's addicted or those that are recovering on the other side. And so that's the type of 12-step recovery that I went through, and it literally saved my life. So I know it works.
Gotcha.
And so that's
Gotcha.
what I do. I took the 12 steps and I made a course to where you go through each step, but each step takes you learn about, like, first one being powerless. You
Mhm.
can only have power over your reactions and your actions, no one else's
Yeah, that's
at
true.
all. And
That's true.
so then through that, then I go and I ask questions that take you to the very bottom of why do you think you have to be in control? Like for step one. Okay,
Right.
so when did that all begin? I mean, when did you learn that? When did you have to fight for yourself? Because that makes us in control, and we learn as people that have been continually abused or whatever, we are in a fight mode.
Yeah.
So when you get out of that situation, then you've got to learn how to get out of that fight mode, because otherwise you're going to stay in it. And so those are just things that I do through each 12 step. And I just, go with the women. And when they've completed the work, then we get back together, we talk about it. If
Yeah.
they have triggers, and those things can last forever, because I'm 8 years out now and I still have little triggers, but I've learned how to process through them
Mhm.
and put them in the right place. And then if it's triggered me in a bad way, go and make a new memory. So those are things that I have learned. And that's what I take and use with other women and men.
You say some things that are critical in that healing journey that we all have to go through. And whether people believe it or not, we have all been we've all been rejected, we've been abandoned, we've
Yep.
been abused, victimized, etc. Every single one. We all
So
have
many.
baggage.
Yep.
Every one of us. I've got a cute cartoon that I share with clients all the time. It's a picture of a husband and wife. They're standing at a baggage claim area. There's a sign on the wall behind them that says emotional baggage claim. And there are some suitcases on the baggage claim uh, style thing, and one of them has a sign in it that says guilt. Another one says shame. Another is like abuse or something like that. Well, behind the man is standing his mother, and the caption of the whole thing is, "I'll carry your baggage if you carry your mother's." So
Right.
what you're talking about is those things that we carry. Sometimes it goes way back to our childhood.
Yep.
Sometimes it's because somebody else did something and modeled a behavior, and then you pick up those same
Absolutely.
behavior habits. And then, I mean, I've worked with so many people, as I'm sure you have, with that narcissistic mindset. Well, I'm that way because my dad was, because my mom was. I'm a smoker, I'm a drinker, I'm a whatever, because so and so was. And they have to break that habit. I call that generational sin. So, how do you see
Absolutely.
that manifesting with your clients that you work with?
Oh, definitely. Well, generational curses, right?
Yes,
My family has been involved in that, and I have taken authority over that because somewhere it's got to break. And my children are both recovering alcoholics. Their
wow,
dad was. Um, I don't know if he's still recovering or not, but
sure,
my
sure,
children are in recovery and they will be for the rest of their life because it's also that genetic thing too, but it's a generational curse. And
yeah,
I do not want that to go into my grandchildren. And I have seen it a little bit go into my grandchildren, but taken the authority. And so that is something that I also teach my clients, whether you're a believer or not, you still need to take authority. And as a believer, there's different prayers and different things that we can do and stuff. If you're not a believer, there's still action that you can take to break that generational curse. And it's just, standing there and just really telling your family that this is what happens and this is what could happen and those type of things. But you just see it in a lot of people's lives with different things, drugs and
yeah,
sex addiction and all of that, because it was okay for this person to do and stuff. But to show them that no matter whether they stay in a marriage where this is all happening or they decide to leave, they
right.
can become the stronger person. They
Oh,
can put the
absolutely.
boundaries around themselves. But they're the ones that need to decide what they're going to do with their life. Nobody can tell them what they can do or should do or whatever.
Yeah,
And that's where I have a problem with the churches, because the churches
yeah,
so many times will come and tell the women that it's their fault because they didn't. And it isn't. It
no,
isn't. And I
that's
will fight for that until I take my last breath. It
yeah,
is not just the wife's fault, and it is just not the husband's fault.
right,
But they each
right.
have to be responsible for their own actions and reactions. You can't blame each other whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Just because
Absolutely.
Joe did it doesn't mean that I have to react to it,
Yeah,
right? I
exactly.
can take the authority within my own life and say, either I'm not going to put up with it or I'm just going to stand here and watch it, and just then you don't have any room to complain either. But taking the authority and becoming a stronger person, you do have that choice. And
I don't remember who it was that said this. I want to say it was somebody like Eleanor Roosevelt that said something to the effect of, no one gives you permission, or you give people permission
touch,
to choose for yourself or
yep,
to make your decisions. And I one of the things that I do with clients is I give them the tools that they need to deflect
right,
all of the junk that comes at them, and it will. And
yep,
so we so often, if we go through a healing process, we now have a hole in our hearts that was, resided with that junk that was there. You've got to fill that hole now with something that's positive, so
mm-hmm,
that you don't keep going back to those previous things that happen. I talk a lot about self-medicating, and it sounds like you
right,
do some of the same things, that when people are going through an abusive relationship, or they're being rejected or victimized, whatever the case is, when we try and break away from that, we tend to go things that comfort us in whatever way. Maybe it's a lot of excessive exercise, maybe it's drugs and alcohol, maybe
yeah,
it's other
and that's
relationships or food or whatever. Well, when we've gone through the healing, we tend to go back to those things because we don't know any different. So you've got to replace the junk that was there with positive things. And I do a lot in the area of affirmations and I am
right,
statements.
yep.
So we're starting to run a little bit low on time. I want you to spend the next few minutes talking about the event that you have coming up in Waco, November 8th and 9th. So I'm going to put a slide up here so that we can see this.
Yeah,
Tell us
thank you.
about the Healing Conference.
Well, and that came about be on a trip home from another conference, and I just kept hearing these words, and I just moved forward on it and just started putting it together. And the very first one was phenomenal. And it's just something that God has given me, because he said we heal in so many ways. So we heal mind, body, soul, and spirit. If
Yes.
we begin deep in our relationship with him, we become so much, we become healthier in our mind and in our body, and our soul, our heart. If we start working out and we become physically healthier, then it helps us with all of the other things. And so I bring in, people that do things as far as, like with you, because you're going to be one of my speakers, the generational curses, the getting healthier. I bring in people that talk about nutrition. I bring in people that talk about the body. And so it all goes together. It really does. It's like a circle, but it's not the bad circle that I was on. It is a good circle, because God is in the middle of it. And so I am just so excited, because that was the first thing that I did when I moved here to Waco. And so this is the very first one that I am having in Waco, and I just love them. And I love what God does in each and every one of them.
That's cool. So you're kind of going in with a blank slate. I mean, you got your speakers and you've got some basic ideas, but once people get there and God starts moving in that meeting, who knows where it's going?
Absolutely. It
God's got
happens
control of
every
it.
time. It does. Yes. It's
Isn't that
just
amazing?
incredible. Yep.
Yeah. I did a group coaching for about 6.5 years, and we always started out with that same mindset. We don't know where the people are, what they need. We just need to be available.
Right.
And that's what it sounds like with you. So folks, if you're watching this, scan that QR code. That will take you to Tonni Lea's website, where you can purchase your tickets. Remember, this is going to be Friday and Saturday, November 8th and 9th.
Yes.
And Tonni Lee, where is this going to be held in Waco?
It is at the Hilton in downtown Waco, right at the convention center. So,
Okay.
yep. And it's just across the street from the Brazos River, and it's just
Okay.
a beautiful part of town. Yeah.
Oh, it sounds
And
like
it's
it.
exactly where God gave me.
Excellent. Okay, so what are the times for the event?
On November 8th, Friday, it's from 9 to 4:30. And
Okay.
then Saturday the 9th, it is from 9 to 1:30.
Outstanding. That is super. I am so excited, number one, to be able to participate in this with
Yes,
you.
thank you.
And I'm looking forward to what God is going to do with some of these lives. There are going to be lives that will be changed, including
Absolutely.
ours, including
Yes.
ours.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, so many times as I've done coaching with people, whether it's groups or individuals, I walk away from there and I just marvel at what God is doing. And one of the things that God has given to me, and I'm sure he has with you as well, is that gift of discernment. And there are times that when you're working with somebody, God just starts whispering in your ear.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
the problem that I have is I like, God, what are you saying? I don't understand that. He says, Steve, I don't want you to question. I just want your obedience.
Exactly.
And we have to be obedient. So we've got still a couple of weeks that we can get people into the conference. So folks, if you look on the scroll down at the bottom, the address again is for Tonni Lea's website. It's www.tonnilea, and that's TONNILEA.com/tickets. If you want to participate in this event, you may be coming through all kinds of stuff. I tell people all the time, we are either coming out of junk, going into junk, or we're in the middle of junk. If you
Right.
need some faith-based healing and you need some encouragement to help you get through the junk, and you need the tools to help you get through the junk, make sure you sign up today, not tomorrow, not next week. Sign up today so that you can start that healing process or enhance your healing process,
Right.
so that so that you're not struggling all the time. There's no reason to. If you need to reach out to Tonni Lee, here's her phone number. It's 719-429-5554. I'm going to say that again. It's 719-429-5554. And if you need to reach out to her by email, it's Tonni Lea TV, TONNILEA TV @gmail.com. So if you're here visiting with us today, live on our video podcast, you've got everything. I'm going to put up that banner one more time so that you can see the banner, and scan that QR code so you can register for this amazing event, the Healing Conference, November 8th and 9th, downtown Waco at the Hilton. You do not want to miss this. So, Tonni Lee, do you have any closing comments that you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, I just want you to know that even if you are going through something so horrible, you are never, never alone. Amen. I'm here, and there are so many people. It just takes the reaching out. Reaching out. Yeah.
Exactly. That is so true. That is so true. Well, folks, again, this is Steve Reed. I'm with Stephen Reed Ministries and Stephen Reed Coaching. My podcast is Maximize Mission Success. We are all on a mission. Sometimes we don't know what that mission is. We are all on a mission. Let me help you get a little bit better understanding of what the mission is for you. What is your why? What is your purpose? What is your vision, so that you can become the best version of you? My goal in everything that I do is I want to be light and hope so that you have a more victorious life. This is Steve Reed signing off for today. I hope you have a blessed day, and I hope I get to hug your neck down in Waco, November 8th and 9th. Tonni Lee, thank you so much.
Thank you,
You've been
Steve.
a blessing.